Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Super Tuesday on the Educational AD Podcast. This is our weekly series featuring 10 great leaders. Some are athletic directors, all have a link in the world of athletics, sharing their thoughts and perspectives on issues that affect every single one of us. Before we get to today's guest, we want to give a shout out to our sponsors. Now, you've heard me say many times before, these are all companies that I used as an athletic director, and I have no problem recommending them to you. So don't hit that fast forward button. Stay with us for the next 3 minutes. We're going to give our sponsors their shout out. So please listen and go ahead and visit their website. Here we go. We want to thank our good friends at Snap Raise for their support of the podcast. Have you ever spent weeks and weeks with a fundraiser and then ended up with little, if any, return? You need to stop right here. Go to snapraise.com. Hands down, it's the best online fundraiser out there. We used it at our school, tremendous success. Coaches loved it, our parents loved it. It works. Go to snapraise.com. You can also check out their other platforms designed to help you do your job better. That's snapraise.com. We also want to say thanks to our friends at Hometown Ticketing, the leading digital ticketing provider to schools and colleges. Hometown Ticketing is digital ticketing that offers more support, more security, and more customization. Go to hometownticketing.com. Their team is going to help you make the best online ticketing solution. We'd like to thank Sideline Interactive, indoor score tables and video boards. Go to sidelineinteractive.com and you can schedule a live web demo and see their score tables and their score boards in action. Their products not only generate income for your athletic department, they also create the ultimate game day experience for your student athletes. That's sidelineinteractive.com. We also want to say thanks to our good friends at Home Campus. Home Campus is the exclusive high school and state association management platform for us. It's also your one-stop platform for scheduling, for athletic eligibility and clearance, digital forms, signatures, working with parents, coaches, you name it, Home Campus does it. To get started, all you have to do is go to homecampus.com. That's homecampus.com. We also want to say thanks to our good friends at Athletic Surveys by Lifetrack. Go to athleticsurveys.com. Their team is going to show you how to set up a survey that's custom for your school. It's going to connect you with your parents. It's going to connect you with your student athletes. It's going to connect you with your teachers and coaches. Athletic directors already hear back from the complainers. Athletic Surveys will connect you to that group, but they'll also connect you to the 98% that support your program. That's tremendously valuable information to have when you're talking with a frustrated parent or maybe even your principal. Go to athleticsurveys.com. Get that custom survey set up today. athleticsurveys.com. We also want to thank Vital Signs Wall of Fame for their support. If you're looking for a really cool way to display your school record boards or your school's Hall of Fame, go to vitalsignswalloffame.com and check out their interactive touchscreen. That's right, touchscreen video consoles. It's also a great way to share your school's history and your proudest moments. Go to vitalsignswalloffame.com, mention the podcast, you'll get a nice discount. Vital Signs Wall of Fame. We also want to thank our good friends at Huddle. Go to huddle.com and change the way you see the game. As a football coach, I used Huddle for years, but when I became an athletic director, I made sure that our school was a Huddle school, and our coaches just loved the tools that Huddle provided that allowed them to coach our kids up to their highest level. Go to huddle.com and join the 8 million users. Turn your school into a Huddle school. And we want to say thanks to Gipper. Gipper is the official social media graphics solution for us. And if you go to Gipper.com, their team is going to show you how to create world-class marketing content to help you celebrate your athletes and promote your teams. Gipper is used and trusted by over 3,000 high school and college programs across the country. It's professional graphic design made simple. Go to Gipper.com and get started today. That's Gipper.com. Welcome back, everybody, to another segment of Super Tuesday on the Educational AD Podcast. Our guest today is an old friend. She was on the podcast back in April. I knew then that she had a lot to offer, and I'm just so glad that she was able to join us for Super Tuesday. Morgan Jones. If you didn't listen to her episode, you need to go back in our library. It was in April of 2023. She is a former Division I and professional athlete, and she has created a couple of different platforms that work with athletes, work with teams, coaches, and athletic directors. She's going to share some of that today. But Morgan Jones, welcome to Super Tuesday.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I love this concept of Super Tuesday and being able to hone in on a specific skill. So thanks for having me.
Well, we did Tech Tuesday for about a year or so, and we're still going to do some tech segments where we share, hacks and apps for ADs. But I did want to have an opportunity to have some really great speakers and presenters have that focused opportunity. So I'm going to ask you, what do you have for our listeners this week on Super Tuesday?
Yeah, so for Super Tuesday today, what has been, on my mind lately, of just the need of talking, having more conversation, is really defining your leadership style. I've worked with numerous athletes, organizations, coaches, what have you. And, I'm on the end where I hear a lot of the problems that need solutions. Or when I'm up and I'm speaking, I'm listening to the event organizer who's telling me about, the pain points and the areas of improvement that their audience needs. And a lot of the times I'm able to kind of backtrack it a little bit, to saying, what is your leadership style? Have you taken the time to define what that is? I think for athletic directors, being that you are directing a program, anywhere from 30 to maybe 100 people, depending on the size of your organization, it's really important that you don't have to be it all, that you're not required to be it all, but you are required to know you, know your leadership style, know the ways in which you excel, the way in which people receive you, so that you can continually do your best in what you're good at, and then know the other areas to improve on, or to hire around, or to be able to be intentional and aware of where a different type of leadership style is needed. When I was growing up, and playing, getting to a high level, when I think back on the different coaches and leaders I had a lot of transformational leaders, servant leaders, not necessarily transactional leaders. And so kind of really quickly, I just want to go through those three different type of leadership styles, and then, kind of flesh it out a little bit of you thinking, whoever is listening to this, of where do I land within this? So number one is going to be your transactional leadership style. So this type of leader thrives off of very clear expectations. They love reward systems. They love establishing performance standards, and very good at providing structure. So for them, it's kind of black and white. It's okay, this happens, so then now this needs to happen. Really, really important to understand that a transactional leader is very vital to an organization. And that is very important to have that structure and for other people to know what to expect. And transactional leaders do that really well. Then you have a transformational leader, if you will. So this is someone who's incredibly good at communicating the vision, communicating the mission, understanding diverse perspectives. They might be very emotionally intelligent. And they filter a lot of their decisions through, does this decision or this action behavior align with the mission and vision of, our university, our school, our program? They often are very good at proactively addressing challenges. So because they're always thinking about big pictures and where things are going, they understand the process of transformation to get there. And so when they see something that could lead to a place of not aligning with the culture, if you will, they catch it really quick. And they want to address it really quickly so that it doesn't get to the point where we need that transactional leader. And then lastly, there's the servant leader. I've had so many great servant leader coaches in my journey, and they really take the approach of leading with humility and empathy. I like to say this is the athletic director that's like going to take out the trash, like they're always understanding that the welfare of their team comes first. They focus on serving others and facilitating their growth. And so, when you kind of understand whether your strong point is, I'm a great transactional leader, like I thrive in structure and reward systems and PIP plans, or if you're more of like a transformational leader where you love to be the one that like has everyone standing in front of you at one time and they just leave that room so inspired about their role in their job and they understand the vision and they're ready to pour that into everyone else they lead within the organization. Or if you're more of a servant leader where you're really tapped into and tuned into the people that you lead's needs. You really care about their well-being. You understand that there is a connection from their home life and how that's going to how it shows up in the workplace. You have these really great connections and conversations that exude care for their well-being. So once you know kind of where you land and where your strong suit is, it helps you understand how you will approach conflict resolution. What is the best way for you to build team morale? How to motivate your team with the skill set that you have. And quite frankly, it gives those you lead a very clear expectation from you. A lot of the time, people really want consistency in who you are. People can deal with maybe you're not the best in this area, the best in this area, but they just want it to be consistent. And so if you're able to consistently showing up in your strengths, and then understanding areas in which you may lean on a colleague to step in, or you need more resources around how to do different things, you're going to continue to become a really great leader that others around you need. Being an athletic director is such a unique position because you're able to really mold and shape and facilitate a winning culture. I don't think that sometimes people understand that it starts with the top leadership down. When you look at issues with coaches, you oftentimes can point right back up, go up one layer from them, and then one layer from them, and you'll find where something's falling short. So, I say all that to say that in that, I guess I should ask you, Jake, like obviously you've been around for a very long time and done such great things. What is your leadership style based on those three I just shared?
Well, before I answer that question, and I will, I really like the way that you talk about your three leadership styles or the three leadership styles. Typically, I would say in my arena, the coach arena or the AD arena, it's servant leader is mentioned that we want to be servant leaders, but transformational and transactional, they're often set up as extreme, not extremes, but in opposition. That the transactional coach is win at all costs, and I think you might be old enough, although I'm so much older than you. You might be old enough to remember the name Bobby Knight, the famous coach from Indiana and later Texas Tech. Certainly a transactional coach. And then the transformational coach is using sports to build better adults, and it's I'm exaggerating here. It's all rainbows and unicorns in the transformational coaches practice. And I like the way that you talk about, okay, there are traits that are positive from each one. So to answer your question, early on in my career, I was, I would say 98% transactional because that's the way I was coached. That's what I knew. As I matured and as I had some great leaders and mentors of my own, it would say, hey, Jake, maybe you should try this or that. I moved along that continuum to become more transformational. I think I was still, even at my best, probably 50-50. But hopefully within that, I was embracing being a servant leader because, Morgan, none of us are in this for the 8-figure salary that they pay us as ADs and coaches. But yeah, we want to We need that structure. We need that organization. We need, come on, this is how we're going to do it. But at the same time, you've got to, especially nowadays, you have to be building relationships with kids, or as an AD, building relationships with your coaches and kids and parents, et cetera. I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, absolutely. It has, and it does. So yeah, so that is why, like, when I'm giving keynote speeches, I even ask myself that same question, Jake, of like, what kind of speaker are you? The longer I've been doing it, the more I come back to like, really identifying even myself in the type of style of speaking, and whatnot. And so, with finding that this is a real need, is to be intentional at the start of your leadership, is really defining for yourself your goals for your leadership. Because in my journey, and kind of looking back on the athletic experience, a lot of it is transactional. And especially from a leadership standpoint, a lot of the times we focus a lot on those we serve and not enough about our own development and our own goals, because everything is team centric, team focused. Let's keep the team first at all costs. And I think that that's shifting a little bit, which is like you just mentioned, they're not 8-figure salaries. And, I have some goals too of how I would like to use this time in my platform to continue on and reach, maybe whatever that is my ultimate goal. And so what I did was I was doing all these talks, and I found a need that, coaches need a resource, something that they can reset their goals, be clear on their values, right? Really start to reflect and be grateful for the journey that they've been on, and then create a powerful visual vision of the direction that they want to go. And so, that's why I created the Vision Box, which is a visual goal setting toolkit. It's highly interactive. It's about 90 minutes long. It brings you through 4 different activities. And truly, it helps you take the focus time that you need to get clear on why you're doing what you're doing, what is important to you, how to set not just a goal, like, hey, I want to be an athletic director for a Power 5 university. No, it's saying, what are the steps to get there? Like, it's great to have that goal, but what are the steps? And then so you do this as a team bonding activity. You can do it individually. And so it's truly actually a kit, designed for some of my visual learners out there that are tired of all this technology and putting everything in their notes section in their phone, to really and truly feel empowered and inspired in their leadership style. And so it's great for athletic directors to utilize, as they start that new position, or they need a reset as they're going into a new season. Or it's great for your coaches to utilize for their teams and for their leadership. And ultimately, it's a small accountability tool. When you create a powerful vision for yourself, and it's visual and it's displayed in front of you, and you have your goals not hidden in your phone, but where you see them every day, you're holding yourself accountable and others.
Well, again, I'm so glad that you led into that. Your website has a tremendous number of resources, and listeners, we want you to check it out. We want you to get in touch with Morgan, talk to her, see what she can do for your program. So, Morgan, how do they get to the website? How do they get in touch with you?
Yep, absolutely. So you can find me at morganmjones.com. There you will see some of my work, the topics that I speak on, and organizations that I've worked with. And then the visionbox.com is where you can go and actually get a really close look at the box, at what it does for you, what it can do for your team, and the process and how to facilitate that.
And go back, if you haven't already, listen to her episode on the Educational AD podcast. She's got a tremendous background in sports, as an athlete, as a visionary, and we're just very happy to have her on Super Tuesday. Morgan, thanks so much for sharing, and all the best as we move into 2024.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
Oh, absolutely. Looking forward to your next segment. For our listeners, we do this every single Tuesday, and we also upload the Zoom recordings to the Educational AD Podcast YouTube channel. Of course, we appreciate you listening. Come back next Tuesday for another great guest, and just about every day for new content on the Educational AD Podcast. Hey, I hope you enjoyed that. And please check out Morgan Jones, the Vision Box, great resource. Speaking of great resources, our sponsors, we want to give them a shout out one more time. I want to thank Huddle. Go to huddle.com. See all the things that they can do for your teams and your coaches. We want to thank Gipper. Gipper's the social media graphic solution for us. Go to Gipper.com, start creating world-class content for your school social media channel. We want to thank Hometown Ticketing, the leading digital ticketing provider to schools and colleges. Go to hometownticketing.com for more information. We want to thank Snap Raise, hands down the best online fundraising platform out there. Go to snapraise.com for more information. We want to say thanks to Vital Signs Wall of Fame. Go to vitalsignswalloffame.com. It's a great way to show off your school record boards, your school's Hall of Fame. Just tell your school story. vitalsignswalloffame.com. We want to thank Home Campus. Home Campus is something I used every single day as an athletic director, and you're going to use it too. Go to homecampus.com to get signed up. We want to thank Athletic Surveys by Lifetrack. In my school, we use surveys for everything, and the information they provided was just so valuable. Go to athleticsurveys.com. They'll create a custom survey for you and your athletic program. And sidelineinteractive.com. You've heard me say before, probably the best purchase I ever made as an athletic director was our Sideline Interactive indoor score table. Go to sidelineinteractive.com to see all the products, all their products and what they can do for you. Thanks again for listening to this episode of Super Tuesday. We'll see you next time on the Educational AD Podcast.